Hello everyone. We are starting with the topic related to teaching aptitude, which is a part of your UGC NET paper 1 syllabus. So today's topic is related to Carl Shafer's 7 laws of teaching. Now before I start with the topic, first I would like to comment on focus of teaching. As per Bloom, there are 3 domains of teaching. That means the teaching process is concentrated on development of these 3 domains. First of which is cognitive, which is related to development of knowledge and intellect. And second domain is psychomotor, which is related to development of body control or physical activities. And third domain is affective domain, which is related to behavior, attitude and values. So teaching is concerned with development of all these domains. As far as cognitive domain is concerned, it develops the ability to argue or to provide valid arguments or to organize the ideas. It also helps the learner to find alternate ways of finding the solution. Right? So cognitive development, it deals with development of knowledge and intellect so that learner can give us valid argument, can organize his thoughts, and he can find alternate ways of finding the solution to the problem. He will be able to understand that to some problem there may be multiple ways to solve it. Whereas psychomotor domain, it is dealing with body control. Now this domain is basically related to development of skills. Now for development of skills, there may be different craft activities or different practical work which is included in the curriculum so that the learner develops body control. Whereas affective domain, it is related to understanding what or why or how something happens, and he will be able to understand or develop the capacity to judge that what he has to do, why he has to do, and how he has to do it. So this is basically related to the behavior, attitude and values. Or in other words, we can say that cognitive domain, it is related to thinking. Psychomotor domain is basically related to physical development. And affective domain is related to emotional development. Physical development, it can also be termed as kinesthetic. And feelings and emotions. So that means whenever we are doing teaching, our objective is to develop the learner in cognitive, psychomotor and affective domains so that he develops thinking, he develops physically or his kinesthetic abilities develop, and he becomes a whole person, whole individual in terms of emotions and feeling. Now to do this work, we or the teachers, they need certain things which are called as requirements. To do this work, we need certain facilities. Requirements of good teaching are that the teacher should be a body of knowledge. He should be able to motivate and he should be a good communicator. These are some of the basic requirements of good teaching, that the teacher has to be a body of knowledge so that he can motivate the learner for critical thinking or critical analysis, and he can motivate the learner for independent learning. And all this process has to be done through interaction, and for that he needs to be a good communicator. We have already studied the maxims, and there we have studied that these maxims, if applied to the process of teaching, they can help the teaching to be more effective and efficient, because these are psychological principles which when applied to the field of education, then they give very good results. Now in this, there we have to study the contribution of John Milton. John Milton Gregory, who gave certain laws of teaching in 1886. Now, there is a book which is named as Excellence in Teaching with 7 Laws. So, in that book, these laws have been published. According to Gregory, education is, in its broadest meaning, embraces all the steps and processes by which an infant is gradually transformed into a full-grown and intelligent man. So Gregory has given the definition of education that in broadest meaning, in widest term, what education is, that it is a stepwise process, and it is a process by which infant, means a newborn child, is gradually transformed into a full grown and intelligent man. So that means he has taken the development of cognitive, psychomotor and affective, all these domains have been considered. And he has also commented that teaching is communication of experience. Now that experience may be in terms of teaching is communication of experience, and this experience, it may be in form of certain facts, maybe certain ideas, maybe certain truth, and maybe certain skills. That means, in some way, according to this statement, teaching is communication based, and that communication is of the experience which has been gained by the teacher first, and now the teacher desires that the experience is gained by the learner also. So for that, he has given that there are certain factors which are very important, rather 7 factors he has given which are very important for this process of teaching. And these factors, they have been categorized as personal factors, mental, and third is functional process. He gave 7 factors which are categorized as personal factors, mental factors, and functional processes. As far as personal factors are concerned, they are of 2 types, that is teacher and the learner. So 2 personal factors are very important for teaching, that there should be a teacher and there should be a learner. And as far as mental factors are concerned, there he has commented that there should be some common language which can be used for communication, and there should be a planned lesson. And during the process, when the process of teaching is going on, during the process 3 important processes take place. The process or the activity is done by learner, the process or activity is done by teacher, and the process of fixing of result. Now in this, first functional process is associated with teacher. Teacher does some activity, does some process, and then learner is also expected to do some activity. And when the learner has done some activity, then the conclusion is drawn by the teacher, and to find that whether the learning which the learner has done, that is correct or it needs some correction. If it is correct, then there should be fixation of result, and if it is incorrect, then there should be corrections applied and the process may be repeated. So based on this all, what we have understood, that whenever we are doing teaching, then our focus should be on development of knowledge, intellect, as well as body control, and as well as behavior, attitude and values should be developed. And for this, the teacher should have knowledge, he should be able to motivate the learner to do independent learning, and he should be a good communicator. John Milton Gregory in 1806, in his book Excellence in Teaching with 7 Laws, he has mentioned that teaching is communication of experience, and these experiences, they may be based on facts, ideas, truths or skills which have been gained by the teacher first, and now the teacher desires that the learner should gain those experiences. For completing the process of teaching, there are certain factors on which this process will depend. 2 of the personal factors are teacher and learner. These are human factors. Teacher is very important and the learner is also very important. And then certain mental factors are required. First mental factor required is communication, and communication should be the common language which teacher and learner both can understand. And there should be some lesson, there should be some planned lesson which the teacher has decided for the learner. During the functional process, that means during the teaching, teacher does some activities, learner does some activities, and ultimately teacher tries to assess the outcome by taking some test or making some assessment. And if after assessment teacher finds that the teaching is good, that the whatever he or she wanted the learner to learn, learner has learned that and he has done it correctly, then there should be fixing of result. And if the learning has not been proper, then the process needs to be repeated. It is to be corrected and repeated until the correct finding is achieved. Then it is to be fixed. So fixing of the result is also done by the teacher. So this is how, according to John Milton Gregory, the teaching process takes place. And after that, he has listed 7 laws which are very useful. If we as teachers, if we master them or if we know them, then we will be able to improve our teaching. John Milton's 7 laws of teaching are listed as: first law is know thoroughly you wish to teach. So he suggests that teacher should understand thoroughly what he is going to teach. Teacher should have complete knowledge about the lesson. He should have very clear understanding what he is going to teach his learners. And second law is that teacher must try to gain and keep the attention of the learner. This is very important, that he must see that the learner is motivated to learn. And he has also suggested that if learner is not motivated, then teacher must not teach. That means if the learner is not motivated, he is not putting in enough of attention, then teacher should stop teaching. That means it will become useless to teach if the learner is not attentive. Another law, third law, it states use clear and mutually understandable language. The language which is used during the teaching process, that should be understandable to both teacher as well as learner. And teacher should avoid using such words which may be having ambiguous meaning or which are not in the vocabulary of the learner, or which can lead to wrong message which is being received by the learner. So the language which is used, that should be clear and it should be mutually understandable by both. Next law states that we should use maxims. So we have studied certain maxims in the previous class. If you have not attended that, then go through that, because that will help you to understand the psychological principles which are underlying maxims, which make teaching easy. So he suggests that maxims like known to unknown and natural easy steps should be used, because that will make learning and teaching a psychological process. Another law states that teacher must stimulate pupil's mind. That means the purpose of teaching is that pupil or the learner, he should be able to use his own mental capabilities, not just learning or memorizing the statements or the words which have been forced onto his mind by the teacher, but the outcome should be that pupil should be able to express his own feelings, his own expression, so that he is able to say what is his feeling about it. So for that, the teacher, he must stimulate the pupil's mind so that he can form his own opinions, own ideas, and verify the truth or fact at his own level. Next law is that require the pupil to reproduce the lesson he is learning. Teacher as well as the learner both has to do certain activities. So it is not a unidirectional flow. It is not a one-way learning process. As in the previous classes we have studied that teaching learning is an interactive process. So certain activities are to be done by the learner, and the learner must reproduce the lesson as he is learning. He must do some activity so that teacher is able to see that he is learning correct. And for that, learner has to do the activity from his own side too. And seventh law, it states that another activity for the teacher is that teacher should review, and he should keep on reviewing time and again, and deepen the thought, deepen the correct learning. If the learning is correct, then he should deepen it. He should make it fixed. and if false views are being formed, then he should correct it. So the another activity for teacher is that he should review and fix. So as we can see that all these 7 laws, they are very useful for actual and classroom teaching, and in our daily life also we can use them for effective and efficient teaching.